Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. So in this video I'm going to solve this problem called decode string and doing some live coding work. At the same time I'm going to follow the general steps you should follow in the coding interview to solve this problem. So before we start the real content, I would really appreciate that if you can help subscribe this channel. So let's read through this problem first. Decode string. So given an encoded string, return its decoded string. So the encoding rule is k bracket encoded string, where the encoded string inside the square bracket is being repeated exactly k times. So note that k is guaranteed to be a positive integer. You may assume that the input string is always valid, so no extra white space, square bracket are well formed, etc. So furthermore, you may assume that the original data doesn't contain any digits and that digits are only for those repeated numbers. Okay, so for example, there won't be input like 3 but no bracket and then an a, or 2 and the bracket some digit. So having said that, let's see some examples. So for the first example, we have AAA, BC, BC, something like this, and we can have like a bracket included, including another bracket. So it could be like a multiple layer of the bracket, which makes the problem a bit more complex. So let's see the constraints. It says the length of the string is anywhere between 1 to 30, and S contains of the lower English letters, digits, and the square brackets. So S is guaranteed to be the valid input, and all the integers in S are in the range of 1 to 300. So having said that, I think we are mostly in good shape understanding the question. So no invalid string, and the string is never gonna be empty. So not too much of the room to think about the edge cases. Let's see how to solve this problem. So how to solve this problem? The first idea in my mind is we could use some recursion to solve this kind of the problem. So I say recursion is something like yeah, so because there are multiple layers here, so it's like we try to interpret this tree and then we call like the recursive function to decode this piece of the string. Let's say for example 2, within the recursive call you're going to generate the a, and then when you counter the 2, we are going to interpret the number, and then we do a recursive call to try to decode this part, which is bracket c. So what we could do is we can of course return the string for the helper function, which is a recursive function, but actually the other thing we need to have is like the index, because after the recursive call we need to try to find out where we are going to restart for the rest of the function. So it's not, so in C++ we could use like the reference to the integer to change the value in place, but in Java I think we cannot do that. So instead what we need to do is we need to have like a global index. I would just call it IDX. Yeah, so the solution to summary, one sentence to summary, is like a recursive function, recursive call, and also track the index. So the runtime is quite tricky to actually analyze because there could be multiple layers. So for example, let's say we have 3 and then A2 and then B2 and then let's say C. So it could be quite complex because it really depends on the input string. So I would say the safest way to say the runtime is, I would say, let's say if we have something like I just mentioned before, if we have input something like A and B and 2 and C. So suppose we have like this, let's say we have we define this like as m1, m2, m3. Like 3 is m1, 2 is m2, so something like that. So we are going to chain all of them together. So it's going to be something like OMI times m0 times m1 blah 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 until m2i. So it's something like this, and then times the length of the string. Let's say the length of the string is n. So I would say the safest way is to say that runtime is going to be something like this. And space-wise, I think is similar because we need to generate the temporary input string, the temporary result, like within this bracket. So it could be quite large in the middle when we try to store the temporary thing. So okay, so let's continue to do the rest of the coding work. So for coding, care about the correctness, readability, and also don't be too slow. So you're going to define a helper function. You're just going to call it the helper. I'll say here we define initialize index as 0, and then we call a helper function on top of the string. Then we define a helper function. So the helper function is actually the GC part. So private, we are going to return the string on top of the string pass. So here we are going to use a string builder here to save some time. And finally, we are just going to return this .toString. So in the middle, we are going to generate the temporary result here. So we'll say it is like some while loop here. While the index is smaller than s.length. Then we are just going to say, hey, if it is digit, so while the index is smaller than this one, you say okay if it is digit. Yeah, so if okay, so I should say car c is equal to s.car at the idx. So if character dot is digit, if it is a digit, then we are going to try to parse the frequency first. So we define like the frequency as equal to 0, and the let me maybe just keep it here. So the current character is still a digit. So while it is digit, then we are going to say frequency is equal to frequency times 10 plus the s.car at index and minus the 0. So this one, and after this we should be able, and plus the index here by the way, and after that we should be able to have the frequency. Let's say for example for this one we are going to interpret the 2, and then you're going to have like the open bracket comes exactly after it, so you're going to have the plus index here, and we need to recursively call the helper on top of s, and at the end I think we are going to encounter the end of the character. So for example for this 2 in bracket abc, after this helper we are actually at the end of the c, which is here. So we are also going to do another idx plus idx to try to exclude the closing bracket. And then here we need to define this as like a temporary result. So we are going to So you're going to do exactly this many times to repeat the string. So it will be something like I is equal to 0, I is smaller than 3, plus plus I, and sp dot append the temp at the end of it. So I think this is pretty much it. So otherwise, if it is not like a character, then sorry, if it is not a digit, then it is some like a character. So if it is well, it could be like, so we don't need to include the we don't need to consider the opening bracket because this is already covered here. But it could be either closing bracket or it could be like the alphabet string, the alphabet character. So let's say if it is well, okay, so maybe we still need to keep this one as a temporary stuff. So char C is equal to this one. So if C is equal to the closing bracket, then you're just going to break here. So that's the plan. And else, it means it is an alphabet. Then what we are going to do is we need to append this one. So we are going to append the character into the string builder. So I think that's pretty much it. Let's take a run to see how it works. So character dot, okay, it's a typo here, character. Alright, so it's another typo. So it's helper, return helper, return the helper on top of S. Oh, okay, so it's helper, sure. Alright, so it's memory exceeded. That's awkward. So how could that be memory exceeded? So let's take a look at this one. So 3A. Let's say we have this 3A, which is like a very simple task case. Let's see. So there should be some bug within the code. Let's take a look at this piece of code here. So, oh, okay, so I didn't actually plus index here, which I think would be the thing. Yep, that's the bug I definitely need to fix. Alright, so let's run some other task cases. Okay, so it seems like everything works well. Let's do a submission for it. Alright, so I think that's pretty much it. We are done with this solution. So, and that's pretty much it for this coding question. So if you have any question regarding the solution, so feel free to leave some comments below. If you like this video, please help subscribe to this channel. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.